What if it's somehow the reverse? What if the man wants to watch his girl having sex with another man or a group of men? Edit, someone answer me, please. We're back. Ask Mark time to answer your questions. Thank you for leaving your comments and questions on the channel. It really does mean so much to me. And if you want your question answered on the next video, remember, leave it below in the comments section. #AskMark so I can spot it. Hit the subscribe button with the bell so you get notifications when new videos come out. I'm going to be answering your questions today. Very quickly, before I do that, don't forget my book is now available on audio, of all things. So you can get the audiobook now. It's on Audible. You can listen to my voice for like 7 straight hours. 300 pages of modern dating goodness going on here, so check it out. Very exciting today. I'm coming to you from Vegas in the home studio, so it's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me, America. It's great to have your questions here live. Now let's get started, shall we, on the questions. The first question, who have we got first? Let's do Fem Morga first. She says, #AskMark. My boyfriend now, whenever we're out together, he's complimenting other ladies on their dress and on their figures. I'm quietly unresponsive every time I hear, but the whole day I'm hearing this more than 8 times. Is this a red flag? Mostly I ignore it, but at times I thought about it if there was something behind it dark. Well, I'm curious if he's complimenting your figure at all. Obviously, this is an issue for you, Fem Morga, so you want to make sure you're speaking up about these issues. Ladies, if you're watching on, it's these little things that we choose to ignore that eventually become big things that become resentments, and then we find ourselves acting out later on. Resentment is almost like a pressure cooker. You want to be releasing it regularly to make sure it doesn't build up. And this is a great example of one of those times. It sounds like he's doing this a lot, so I don't know if your boyfriend is being a bit underhanded here and being a bit sketchy, or if he's just really complimentary. But either way, his behavior is affecting you. So you want to make sure you speak up on how it's affecting you. Hey, can I share something with you? Is this a good time? Well, I want to be honest. When you compliment the other ladies, often, I appreciate your gratitude for them. And I want to let you know that, well, honestly, I feel kind of sad and a bit disappointed. And I even then perceive that you find them more attractive than me. It would mean a lot to me if maybe you could mention how I look from time to time. Would that be something you're open to? Or if you could maybe dial that back, if that's something you're open to, so you can be more present with us. Would that be something you're open to? Again, it depends what you want to ask. It depends what change you want to ask for. And good general advice, ladies, always be really specific with men about what you ask. I just want you to care more. I just want you to feel like a priority. We don't know what that means. Please explain to us in specific detail what you're asking for. Don't demand it of us, but invite it of us. We need specifics. Question number 2. Why don't men give oral to women as much as they want it? Well, I don't have this problem in my relationship, but I do know that certain women ask this question. So I'm not actually going to answer this today. Instead, I did a 300-man survey. I'm going to be sharing all the results from that survey, a whole video about men's thoughts on oral sex. I'm going to be sharing all of that in a subsequent video. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, little bell so you get the notifications. Keep your eye on the channel. It's going to be, I've been really fascinated by the responses I've been getting. What makes a man enjoy oral sex? What doesn't? Oral sex, what doesn't? Check out that video. It'll be out soon. Question 3 is from Lily Joseph, who says, great work. How to overcome the fear of being hurt again when it's preventing you from opening up in a new relationship? I love this question because how many of you can relate to this question? How to prevent that fear of opening up again when you've been hurt in the past? Well, the truth is you need to unpack what happened. You see, our unconscious is very smart. When we get ourselves hurt, it remembers. It literally stores that energy, that memory in our body, and it remembers so that next time you don't get in that position or get hurt again. The problem though is that our unconscious sometimes can throw the baby out with the bathwater. The classic example is, hey, when I'm a kid, whenever I ask for my needs or set a boundary, my parents abandon me or get mad. So our unconscious remembers that and gives us a huge amount of discomfort in the form of an uncomfortable emotion when as adults, we go to set any sort of boundary or ask for any sort of need. So it learned this as a kid, and then our whole life we carry this memory that half the time we don't even realize we have, that you should never ask for anything. So our unconscious can throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to its learnings. And you see this in relationships. Our unconscious says, oh, you got hurt with a man? Okay, noted. I'll give you a huge amount of anxiety or sadness or fear to make sure you never go near a man again, or at least never go near closeness with a man. And that's a problem. So how do you stop your unconscious throwing the baby out with the bathwater in terms of the way it protects you? You've got to break down what happened. Whether with a coach, with a therapist, you've got to really show your unconscious that you understand what happened and how and why you're not going to put yourself in that position again. Last time I ignored my intuition. Last time I knew he was a narcissist. Last time I let him gaslight me. Last time I didn't act when I knew I needed to end the relationship, whatever it is. And you've got to work with your unconscious to say, okay, those were the clear mistakes I made last time. I've learned from it. So unconscious, I'm not going to put myself in that position again. You can trust me this time. And if your unconscious believes you and you're not just spinning shit to it, then your unconscious will relax that protective mechanism. This is a lot of the work I do with clients, is helping them relax those protective mechanisms that got stored up from previous emotional memories. So the more you're getting these big blocks and the more a big bit of your unconscious swoops in to protect you, almost like a Secret Service agent tackling the president, the stronger those guards are, the more you've got to do the work unpacking what happened so your unconscious believes that what happened is not going to be what happens again. Hope that makes sense. Great question, Lily. Thanks for sharing it. Next question is from Masha, who says, thank you for your amazing advice. Would you say it's okay to put on my dating profile that I'm looking for a relationship but want to be friends first? I put that on my profile in order to filter all the guys who want to hook up, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm being too straightforward. Because I'm almost 28, I want to get married and have kids and don't want to waste time anymore. Look, unfortunately, a lot of women, you want to save time, right? But what ends up happening is a lot of women, they end up pinching pennies and losing pounds. You have to put some time in. Just as if you were with a guy, you'd put some time into spending time with him each week, a few times a week. If you had a partner, you gotta put time into meeting him. Trust your filtering though at a further along point in the process. Putting this on your profile honestly just makes you sound unconfident. So I wouldn't actually recommend it. I would recommend instead having a really good vibey profile and then trusting your boundaries later on when you get to texting, when you get to the phone call, even maybe if you get to a date, to know which guys are serious and which aren't. You want to attract a strong, confident guy, but because online is so superficial, at least at the profile level, you want to present a good image at the profile level, a good, confident, girlfriend type image at the profile level so that a man can want to get to know you better from there. Don't have your profile do too much of the filtering. Rely on you to do the filtering. When you're doing the filtering, you're going to get the best results. It's going to be better than any profile, better than any matchmaker. Your intuition is your best filter. And you can't use that so much with an online profile. So my recommendation would be keep your profile as a really good high vibe profile that guys notice. And then from there, you'll pretty quickly get a sense as you talk to guys who wants to take you out, who wants to get to know you with a phone conversation, and who just wants to have sex with you and isn't interested in anything else. Trust yourself more than you trust a silly superficial profile. Analiza says, how about if he said first that he's not looking for a serious relationship, but keeps texting you every day? Actions speak louder than words, right? Except in this case. You always want to listen to a man when he says the words, I'm not looking for a relationship. Believe him, okay? Believe him when he says that. He means it. And if you keep seeing him after that, in his brain, he's like, oh, I told her, so I guess she's happy with that. Okay, cool. No skin off my back now, right? In his brain, he's ticked that off. He's told you. So if he keeps texting you, it's because he still wants some level of connection, but he's like, well, I told her I don't want a relationship, so now I can just get the level of connection I'm comfortable with. Usually that's not the level of connection that you are comfortable with. So you want to be listening to his words in this case more than his actions. Audra from the Facebook group says, I couldn't find your group. No, it must be a messaging, not about the group. Anyway, question regarding the 10% rule. So the 10%, the 90-10 or 80-20 rule says that you should take 80% or even 90% of your information about a guy from the last 10 or 20% of the time you've known him. In other words, if you've been dating him 5 months, 80% of your opinion about him should be from the last month you've been dating him. Right, the last 20%. So it's very much a refresh rule. So she says, what if a guy I dated only for a few months pulled back so he can date others, yet still wants access to me? Then it became he stopped messaging or calling me or returning calls from me during the weekend. But first thing on Monday morning, he messages and does so through Friday. What is that about? And was it wise for me to tell him to stop messaging and calling me at all? Yes, it was wise. He's not that into you. Ladies, if a man has dated you for a couple of months and he's like, oh, you know, I really want to go date other guys, please encourage him to do so. He's not that into you. Kate Fernstrom says, what about a guy who consistently brings his exes into the conversation? I almost never discuss my exes other than a basic, it didn't work out, or it was a long time ago. But his conversations are littered with this ex, this ex, that. I found it ultimately annoying and vaguely manipulative. Look, this isn't good. I do think there's a sweet spot in the middle, a little bit more exposed than you've been and a hell of a lot less than what he's been. Exes teach us lessons. Exes are our learnings. Exes make us the people we are today. You know, I have my exes to thank for the relationship I have now. How can you deny that? Your exes have led you to the person you are right now. So your exes are very important, and the lessons that you take from those are very important. But a guy who's continually bringing it up over and over again is showing signs that he's still got energy moving towards his ex. Energetic links with his ex, even if he's not texting her or not calling her. So you've got to use your intuition. Ask yourself the question, is this a healthy amount of ex talking where, you know, he's got the lessons, he's grateful maybe for his exes, but other than that, he's past them and he's building something with me? Or does he kind of keep going back to them, almost like there's an invisible pull string energetically just pulling him back to that topic? If that is the case, it likely means he's not over them yet. There's still energy there. You're better off giving him some space because he will go back to her eventually, and you don't want to be there, the victim of that. So if this is happening, if a guy is talking about his ex an unhealthy amount, give him that space to go back to her. Only once that energy has cleared would I recommend considering having a relationship with him. Suzi SaintJames. Now, this comment was actually on the video where I was broken up with. I published it about a month back. It's a pretty vulnerable video. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to publish it, frankly, but it is on the channel now, and it was my previous relationship. So Suzi says, how do you figure out what the negatives are when she broke up with you at a time when you were thinking she's the one and getting ready to have her meet your parents? What were the negatives that you sorted that you were able to eliminate in your next relationship? Now, the background to this is I said you've got to look at the negatives when a relationship breaks up. You've got to look at the things that weren't working and have a think if those things continued, how bad it would have been. Now, Suzi's question is because I was basically blindsided. I didn't really see it coming. She was a bit weird for a week, but I didn't really see it coming. So Suzi's saying, well, how do you figure out the negatives when you didn't see them coming? Well, the big negative is she wasn't able to confront problems with me. And ultimately, she didn't want to be with me. They're pretty big negatives. And even though I didn't see either of them coming, clearly they were true for her. Because someone who really wants to be with someone, generally speaking, they don't just break up on a whim. There are some impulsive, emotionally very impulsive people that do weird shit, but that's its own problem if that's the case. But most of the time, if someone's broken up with you quite suddenly, rather than an impulse, it's something they've been thinking about for quite a while. When I was broken up with, we can backtrack that to assume that she was thinking about something for quite a while. She was concerned about something for quite a while. She didn't speak up on it. She did it all herself. And ultimately, she made the decision herself. So ultimately, it shows that my relationship wasn't as strong as I thought it was, right? She's not confronting problems with me. She's not speaking up about that stuff. And ultimately, she's chosen not to be with me. So those are big problems. Those are big relationship problems. Imagine spending 5 years with someone who doesn't want to be with you. How anxious you'd get, how uncertain you'd get, how unsafe you'd feel. So even in the breakup, even though I didn't see it coming, the breakup alone showed me where some of the big problems were. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I had maybe a tiny inkling, but obviously a lot more was going on for a lot longer than I thought it was. So there were problems there that I can identify. Thanks, Suzi. Benmerzoug Dounia says, what if it's somehow the reverse? What if the man wants to watch his girl having sex with another man or a group of men? Edit. Someone answer me, please. I imagine not too many of you have had this problem, so I'm impressed that my VA snuck this question in. But you know what? You do you. If you want to do that, and if you're up for some variety, go nuts with it. If it's not for you, just let your boyfriend know. How do you know that the new love you have found is not a rebound? I actually did 2 videos on this. I will link them in the description for you, Erin. Cathryn says, how do you handle a stagnant relationship? And the man seems so comfortable. Great question. I draw from 2 schools of thought on this answer. The first is the Esther Perel school, and the second is the John Gottman school. Relationships get stagnant because they get comfortable and you lose both intimacy and polarity. There's a lack of difference and there's a lack of closeness, interestingly. They just get comfortable and boring, essentially. So, the Esther Perel school, you want to be making sure that there is difference. Go out and do your own thing. Get off the couch. Find some new hobbies. Spend time without him. Shine in your own world. You've got to create some difference, some separateness, so that you can miss each other, look at each other from a little bit of a distance, do your own thing. Ladies, let me tell you, as a guy, one of the most attractive things is very, very attractive for us when you go and do your own thing. It's like you go, hey, I'm catching up with some girlfriends this evening. Oh, awesome. Cool, good for you. Hey, I'm going out to this new painting class I've got. I'm going out to yoga. You're away from us. That distance creates interest. It creates a space for us to cross, a space for us to desire you. So we want you to do your own thing. So one of the biggest pieces is you want to take some of your focus off the relationship and put it back on you, right? You see this as well when some guys get quite insecure about this, in fact, but that's how well it works, is a particularly controlling guy who doesn't want you to have a life. It's because he can't stand that level of desire and threat. But if you're in a stagnant relationship, that's not your problem. You want to create more of that healthy desire, healthy threat, just by doing your own thing so the man can move towards you. So a lot more of that. And then number 2, the John Gottman school, you want to have more intimacy. And I don't mean sex necessarily or even at all. What I mean is into me see. So do a John Gottman love map. Find closeness in new areas. It's about expanding what you know about each other when you are together. I see more into you, you see more into me see. Intimacy fails over time because we get lazy, we stop asking questions, we stop being interested in how our partner is growing. So find ways with your partner to create that closeness, to create new closeness to become aware of. There's all sorts of ways you can do this. As I say, there's love maps, there's little exercises, there's games you can do together, you can ask creative questions. There's plenty of ways to do this. But after you've done the Esther Perel stuff, or as you're doing it, when you come back together, spend some quality time just getting to know each other again. Because I guarantee if your relationship has got stagnant, there's a ton of shit that you don't know about each other that you could now learn and become interested in. Both sides will reinvigorate your passion in the relationship. We now have a question from Ileana, who says, how do you apply this technique at a place when you're out dancing? You see a guy you like and you want him to dance with you and you just don't know how to approach him. Not necessarily a bar, just an open space where there's band, people dancing. All right, open spaces, band, people dancing. It's one of the easiest spaces to do this. Just be close to him, especially if he's out on the dance floor. Get close, make some eye contact, good eye contact, more eye contact, turn your back a bit, eye contact, eye contact, eye contact. Have some fun with him. If it's a really casual dance setting, you can even just kind of dance up against him with your butt or with your back, right? And a guy's gonna get it. If he's sitting down, you might need to make really good eye contact from a distance. You might even need to beckon him over if he's not getting the hint, but have some fun with it. Dance in front of him. Don't take it too serious. If you can make it fun and have fun pulling him over, the guy will either get the hint, or if he doesn't, he's just not that into it, and that's fine as well. Go dance with someone else. Bernadetha Badhe and Sally Majidze have similar questions. Bernadette says, I want to ask you a question about having a relationship with a man from another country. My question is, how to know if a man is serious and wants a relationship? What are the signs that he really wants you to be his boyfriend? And Sally's question is, I'm having a long distance relationship for now with a white man from the UK. How will I know if he's serious? So again, both questions. How do I know if a long distance guy is serious? Before I answer the question, ladies, wherever possible, try not to do this. Okay, imagine if I took you to a casino, I gave you some money and said, we're gonna have a fun night out. There's a poker machine over there where you can have a 50% chance of winning, and there's a poker machine over there where you can have a 98% chance of losing. 50% chance of winning and losing, 98% chance of losing. Which one are you gonna choose? That's dating in your own city. That's dating long distance across continents. Okay, so try not to do too much of this wherever you can avoid it. If you do find yourself in this situation, one of the biggest things you want to look for is an end date. An end date, that means there is a date where you guys are going to be together. There is a date where at least you're going to have your first visit or your first holiday. There is a hard date set in stone. Right, that date should come within the first month or two of chatting. That's the biggest thing you can look for. If you don't have an end date, you don't have shit. Okay? You just don't. Oh, well, maybe figure it out then or when or whatever. If you don't have an end date, you don't have anything. Second thing you can listen for is his consistency. Okay, use your intuition with this and look over a range of different areas. Is he consistently vulnerable with you? Is he consistently updating you on his life? Is he consistently sharing? Is he consistently working for you to be together? Are you doing the same as well? Are you matching each other? Consistency over time. This isn't just if you're long distance, this is if you're short distance as well, middle distance. If a guy is showing up consistently and his words are consistently matching his actions and vice versa, then you can have a lot more confidence than if that is not the case. So listen for consistency and listen for an end date. If you have those two things, you're on the way. And if you're not currently dating long distance cross continent, for the love of God, try to avoid it. LeAnn says, I am dating from Dubai, a man from Dubai, and we're currently at the stage where he's been hurt with his ex who cheated on him with another man, and he's stopped admitting his feelings. He won't even tell me how he feels until I go be with him in Dubai. Is this normal? No, it's not. Don't go and be with him in Dubai. And the last question is from Hannah. And Hannah says, Mark, what would be your advice if I think I'd like to meet someone as I've been single for 4 years, but I'm scared of hurting the guy? What if I don't want to see them again? What if the relationship fails? What do I do? Hannah, right? You've got two choices in life. You can either be dishonest and protect people's feelings, or you can be honest. Who do you want to be? Dishonest or honest? You can't have it both ways. If you're going to be honest, sometimes you will hurt people's feelings. But to all you empaths out there, this is not a bad thing. You need to hurt people's feelings sometimes. People around you need to feel bad. Especially if you've grown up in a house where that wasn't the case, where you were made to feel bad every time you hurt someone else's feelings, this is going to be pretty foreign to you. But the truth is, your truth will sometimes hurt people's feelings. You're going to have different opinions. You're going to have different vibes. You're going to have different boundaries. That's what democracy is, right? That's why it works well, but it's also why it's sometimes frustrating. But hurting people's feelings is an important part of being an honest person. So you've got to be able to do this. Being willing to hurt someone's feelings for something you believe in, for your honesty, is the mark that you are becoming self-accepting. It's a mark that you're validating yourself, and it's a mark that you're growing past that old childhood shit that you had. Do it respectfully. You know, you don't rub salt into the wound. You don't need to do that. But just through being honest, you will hurt people's feelings, and that's okay. You are allowed to. I give you permission. Don't forget, my book is now available on audiobook, so you can listen to me talk for a hell of a lot longer than you did today. Grab a copy. Hit the subscribe button with the little bell and leave your comments with #AskMark below. Mwah. I'll see you in the next video.